Well, here we are, Friday, April 21st, and you got to give it to President Trump. You got an American pulled out of the Egyptian gulags, ai-Hijazi, and her husband, who is Egyptian, and I believe three or four other aid workers. You got to give it to President Trump, but let's see why President Obama couldn't get her out. She was in there, I think, for 3 or 4 years. And if you look at the history, it's really interesting. You can see why it works here and why it doesn't work at other times. In his first term, President Obama, it was during the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring was when everybody was getting overthrown. So the people starting rising up against Syria, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton backed those people. President Obama decided to keep hands off. But in Egypt, President Hosni Mubarak was overthrown. The United States did not back him during the Arab Spring. He was overthrown by the people because he was a tyrant, and in came Mohammed Morsi, who was the head of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is really the nexus where it all began of all the crazies in the Muslim world. I'm not talking the great majority of the Muslims. I'm talking about the crazies. And so what then happened was, when Mohammed Morsi took over Egypt, or after he was put in power, suddenly the Muslim Brotherhood started doing the same thing that Hosni Mubarak did. People were purged, they were thrown out, they were disappearing, they were showing up in trials, they were getting killed. It was all over the place. And the people of Egypt were really getting bummed. The people of Egypt are strong Muslims, but they also have an incredible history. And they're very Western in many ways, and they didn't want to hear it anymore. So if you look back at all the shots of the videos, the people rose up. They did not want Mohammed Morsi or the Muslim Brotherhood in there, period. So out comes General al-Sissi, who's running the military, and he comes in and takes over. And it was with the full support of the people. Look at what happened, just like Morsi's takeover was. The full support of the people. But the people didn't want it anymore. I think they got smart. So al-Sissi comes in. When al-Sissi comes in, President Obama decides he doesn't like him because he starts jailing all the Muslim Brotherhood people. Kind of like, when Republicans and Democrats do the same thing to each other when they come into power. There, Morsi was putting people out. Mubarak put people in jail. Then Morsi's putting people in jail. Then al-Sisi's doing it. What's new? It's the same old game over there. So President Obama, instead of just sitting back and trying to work his way through it, withdrew our $1 billion of aid, military aid to President al-Sissi and to Egypt. That ended it. Al-Sissi didn't want to hear about it anymore. Here he is saying to himself, I kind of understand. We support you, America. It's not like Syria. You kind of let things go there and you ain't on them. But here I am, and I'm a supporter, and you're not backing me. Same thing President Obama did with Israel. President Obama had this thing with theory over reality on the ground. So here we have Americans taken, or at least al-Sissi taken prisoner, and President Obama could do nothing about it. In comes President Trump, President Machiavelli. He says, I support the Egyptian government. Who else are you going to support? Who else is President Obama going to support? So work it out. Get it straight. He says, I support the Egyptian government. A couple weeks later, after President al-Sissi comes over, Miss al-Sissi is freed. Because Machiavellianism works in many ways. You look at your friends, you want your spheres of influence, you say, I'm going to be your friend, and I'm going to back you up. And when I back you up, you take care of me the way I take care of you. Smart, the only way it should be done, and it worked. It worked, and she's back. Not like in the other old days, we get people out of Iran and pay them off hundreds of millions of dollars. We're doing it in a different way here. We're just saying you're our friend. And no, it's not a great democracy, and yeah, they got issues. But I stand behind President al-Sissi and the Egyptian people, not the Muslim Brotherhood or ISIS or any of the Islamic radicals. It only makes sense. So it worked. The Democrats should be giving him incredible praise. We're not hearing much of it. The American people should. We got an American out of the Egyptian gulags. Good job, President Trump. Peace.